Hi everybody, this is Marilyn. Do we have any audio for this today? We do. Thank you. Okay. Hello everybody. This is Marilyn and it's time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 12th of August. Happy Friday. We've managed to get through the first couple of weeks of August. And actually this week, all in all, hasn't been too bad. Today on these indices certainly isn't their finest day, but sometimes that happens after we have really nice moves and really super duper ones for August yesterday. And this is Friday. A lot of the big boys check out for Fridays altogether, and some of them will trade for a couple hours in the morning and then they're gone for the weekend. But it looks like the indices are all pretty much in sync. NQ might have been a little weaker than the others today, but it's kind of a toss-up who was the strongest of the bunch. Crude oil, finally, after chopping around all morning, some people can trade that up and down. That's just not my thing. I do not like that. But for me, there was a nice move when it broke out of this. This seemed to be a chop box to me, all the way around this. Whoops. Get rid of it here. Right in here. But when it cleared the half deviation right here for me, that was a good possibility, and it did clear it and put in some at least some volume, and then it started exceeding volume. So, but if you look also on this 10-minute chart, you'll see this went right up here to the top of this chop box. I mean chop box. I'm sorry, the expected range boxes right up here. They're pretty easy to see on the 10-minute. I think sometimes, at least for myself, I get a little lost with all the deviation lines and the magnets and the what have you. But if I kind of glance at that 10-minute from time to time and get an assessment of where it is in the bigger picture, that helps a little bit. For those of you who like to trade the Forex pairs, there was a lot of movement in these pairs this morning, at least in the futures. The UJ should have been pretty good. The euro has gone both directions against the dollar. The euro went up and the dollar went down, and then it's changed places. And the Aussie dollar did the same thing. It went up and then it started falling off for about the last, I don't know, about 3 hours or so. Gold had a nice move up this morning, but you had to be an early bird, and I had some trouble loading everything up this morning, so I was a little bit late to the party. But I did manage to get a 10-tick ride on the ZB bus. And then for me, after that nice run up, gold started chopping around. Lori's the queen of chop, that's for sure. Anyway, we've got the VIX trading around 11. It's trying to get to 11.5 now. I don't know if it's going to make that or not. It's the volatility is not anything very wonderful right now. With gold, it's about in its halfway mark. and the same with bonds. So these are just things to kind of keep in the back of your mind when you're having a choppy day, is to kind of look around and try to figure out why that is happening and what you can go to confirm that. So I wanted to mention something too. Lori posted this earlier in the chat, but there are some people that don't, that either leave early, especially on Friday, or they typically take off and then listen to this blurb to see if there's anything they missed that we talk about at noon. And I did want to mention something to the Nadex traders in particular. Several weeks ago, and I'm not sure of the exact dates, but Nadex was having a tremendous problem with their data. And as a result of that, there were contracts, and this did not affect the Forex pairs, but it did affect some of the other, you know, the indices and the whatever it was. And as a result of that glitch in their data feed, and it was over a period of several days, some people in those contracts, the indicative was not accurate, and they should have been profitable in those trades, especially binary trades, which it's an all or nothing deal. And spread trades maybe in some of those more or less profitable, whatever it was, but they should have been in a profit. And they did not, they were not, they took a loss. So, orders I understand went out today, and the people that should have gotten a credit will get a credit. In other words, if you took a loss and you should not have taken a loss, they will make that right. And the people who did get a profit and should not have had a profit, they're going to leave that alone. So in other words, nobody is going to get less than they would have, and some people are going to get a little bit more credited to their account. Anyway, Nadex, speaking of Nadex, they are going to roll their crude oil contract today after the close. So if you are trading Nadex, the spreads or the binaries, on Monday, you are going to need to have the October contract up. I'm not real inclined to roll the futures contract. Right now it's got 10 days left on it, so that's another 8 days if you start Monday. And the reason I'm hesitating on that is because the September contract is trading volume-wise about 3 times more in September than it is in October. And I much prefer to stay with the volume. So next week, we will be rolling, or at least I will be rolling my futures contract probably about Tuesday, maybe, or Wednesday. But what I do is I monitor the volume. And the traders, the big traders, like right now there's about 364,000 contracts out in the September crude oil, and there's only about 115,000 out in October. So I'm going to wait and kind of watch that and monitor it. But as they start to get out of the September contract and buy into the October, depending on what direction they're going, that's going to be a lot of volume that kind of makes a shift next week. So be aware of that. There are some news numbers coming out, and on Monday, Monday usually isn't anything with the U.S., and this isn't super significant, but at 8:30 on Monday morning will be the Empire State Manufacturing Index. So be aware of that, because sometimes that that can move the market. Just always check to see what the news is. On Wednesday of next week, not only will we have crude oil inventory, but FOMAC is releasing their minutes on Wednesday, and that's likely to be a significant news event